With those wrapped up, then I think we'll roll into CWheezy. So Wheezy played Satsuki. Matches went fine. Wheezy almost got me on the second one, and sort of fortunate situation broke my way, and I was able to come back. But it was a little closer than maybe a 2-0 would look, right? So, but instead of going for Satsuki again, I assume that Wheezy saw the Janet games and saw some things I was doing, probably some of the jumps I was making, and saw opportunity to leverage, like exploit my weaknesses in the matchup. Yeah, we can catch some games sometime. If not now, then maybe in the future. I gotta get through these reviews, which is gonna take a little while. But at some point, you can always ping me in the Discord for games. And that goes for you watching at home, too. Okay. So Wheezy is a different sort of style than Janet. I'm not sure if off the top of my head I can name what the differences are, but I think that in general, Wheezy's more stable about anti-airing with neutral A and ground super. I'll have to pass on games right now, unfortunately, just because I'm working through the replays. And it'll probably take a while, so I wouldn't wait up too long for me. Gotta go over everything in excruciating detail. But, ping me later if you want. If I'm not around, I'll let you know it's not a big deal. And if I am, we can run the games. Okay. So, when this, thunderclap. Yeah, whenever round start happens, bomb comes out, which means we're on a proper guessing game. If Wheezy jumps, then maybe a Vines catches him depending on the time. But if he rolls like this, I want to use Earthquake. Works in my favor. Oh, hold on. My bad. This is a beautiful forward jump A. Look at that timing. First explosion, forward jump A, second explosion. Just barely dodged it. Puts me in range to do some kind of mix-up on Lum, get the normal throw. Mistake on Oki. That should have been a safe jump. If you accidentally do a neutral jump, I try to do back walk forward jump as my setup for the safe jump. But if I get a neutral jump, you can't just do a neutral jump A, because it doesn't stall your momentum. The timing of the jump is wrong. So you need to go for a grounded mix-up. Throw's a little predictable because it's the easier thing to time. So, good choice. Maybe a guess, maybe a sort of reaction to my weird jump decision from Wheezy. Yeah, so that's a really good result for Lum. If I had already started clapping by the time that this animation had started, then it would have been like, I think I had hit it right before. We look. My stance changes. That's me doing back A. I started it too late, and Wheezy is too far away for me to directly punish. So, very strong result for Lum. I can't contest the cartwheel directly. Very poor decision. I should have just walked forward and blocked, right? I wanted to get more value, which is questionable. And instead I just get hit for free damage. Walking forward again, walk forward and block, no need to jump. The jump works okay in that case, right? But I think Wheezy starts punishing it soon. That should be thrown. These items are okay. This is the kind of dice that this is, hold on, like, as Wheezy had meter for a while, I think after like getting this cloud on the field, having meter, might as well go for the dice, right? I'm not sure what changed between now and later that made Wheezy want to do it now, but this is not a safe dice. It loses to Earthquake if I time it properly. But Y20 mentions that CWheezy plays a slightly less active Lum, like maybe compared to Janet, where Janet's always moving and doing something calculated but like super active. When Wheezy plays Lum, he's more tight and concise. I think I feel similarly, where I think Wheezy's more principled about using like neutral A anti-air and answering the opponent's decisions directly. And I think Janet's more willing to go in and pick options that are not necessarily clean answers to problems. But Janet creates lots of problems that are difficult to navigate. So it's fine. We trade life. I'm low, so I probably can't afford it. I wonder why I didn't block there. But I'm down to 1 life. Dice land. That's really lucky that I hit him out of the air. I missed my Oki though, and die to a Yomi counter. It's a good choice. It's a blind sort of guess. In this situation where Lum doesn't have any meter, it's an extra good way to close out the round. But not too much to say other than that. You want to pick, like, it does communicate information. It's like a high upside kind of play. Out of all the different ways Wheezy could have chosen to win the round, he went with the one that was most advantageous to him, which, you know, makes sense on a surface level. If you think your opponent is wary of the value they're giving you, then you might choose a lower, like maybe I pick a low downside option. Like if I lose because I did a command grab, then Wheezy doesn't get full meter. So it's not a surprise that your opponent picks the option that's most valuable for them, but it tells you maybe sort of what they are, to what degree they're playing around your decision making too. Okay, so this is interesting. This is where Wheezy starts going for like neutral A anti-airs whenever I jump in. If you look, his character starts to move a little bit. There's the start of the neutral A to punish me. He's just too close. It's unfortunate. So, because of that bit of luck, we get 2 damage, 3 damage Oki.
Perfect. Round 3. Fight.
Okay. No chance to... This is a weird thing, by the way. I'm not sure what it is what's up with this kind of interaction, but it's not uncommon for... Is there like extra hit stop whenever you break a die or something? I've always wondered about this. This specific kind of break a die and do a landslide feels like it gets Yomi countered way more often than it should. Or a non-meaty grab for whatever reason. It's very odd. I wish I could see the frame counter, make sure there's no trickery going on here. Oh! No wonder it happens. Okay, this is really big. Who knew? When dice are on the field, if Rook is doing landslide, the first frame of landslide hits the die, and the second frame is what hits Lum, so it's like a meaty landslide. No wonder that always happens. I always thought that it was the Lum player like mashing out their throw incorrectly, even though it didn't make any sense. This probably deserves to actually go in the strategy channel. So, to summarize, whenever Lum does dice and Rook does landslide and Lum blocks it, if the landslide also broke a die, it is -3 instead of -4. The dice absorbs the first frame or the first active frame, I guess, which is just a super weird, unintuitive interaction. I wonder Oni bots or like mini Lums might work in a similar way. I'm not really sure. But you know from... I don't know. I don't know if there's anything we can compare it to, but this is very useful information to know. And only found through exhaustive replay analysis. So... yeah, Division Ring calls out that feels more like a bug form than a strategy form. It's all the same, really. If I lose this, Lum better get his hitboxes fixed on that dice throw so I can hit him with my jump super. That's all I'm gonna say. Not that it needs fixing. I think both of these things are fine. It's really funny. That's how it interacts. So I shouldn't really go for super here probably. It's not bad. And you know, it's a very positive result in this game. Yep, gets the knockout. But I might as well Yomi and keep my meter, get 2, and play the knockdown game, right? I don't have meter, so Wheezy's really eager to just use our cartwheel for chip whenever he has nothing else to do. Which is mostly fine. Cartwheel does lose divines. That time we traded, it's like a normal sort of result, but it can be worse for Lum. This is a spot where I should not jump, I think. I should just walk forward and block. But good air-to-air. Rewarding for Wheezy. Gets a cherry. This time I use vines late in the bomb to punish the jump forward thing. Wheezy could have anti-aired me with the neutral A, the sort of stable idea I think we end up getting closer to later. You can also, as Lum, use ground super as a really strong anti-air in a lot of situations. And in this spot, it probably would be just a crushing option. It puts me really far away, maybe juggles me into bomb, and sets up a bunch of items. Right, so very powerful. That is a knockdown Rook can go for immediate landslide for, but if Lum understands they should ground super in response, it's not a real option. Okay, fortunate that that works out. When you have that sort of knockdown too, one of the strengths again of Lum's ground super, you think, oh, it tends to trade with strikes. That's true, but if you have a meaty strike that is 5 active frames or less, if it's meaty, then Lum's ground super will beat it cleanly. So going for like a thunderclap after landslide is a very traditional sort of Oki option for Rook. It's very, or I guess conventional, maybe better than traditional. It's strong, it's stable, it's good, but Lum will be immune through it if they super, so it's definitely risky. Good guess to jump out. Can get more of a punish, right? But not a big deal. Missed it. That's a fortunate sort of result. That would have been a good spot to be brave and actually, like, do a jump forward vines, jump forward splash, something to not take chip and to gain space. Okay, fine anti-air. So this is the kind of thing I don't get to do against Janet, but does work against players like Wheezy, where if they use neutral A for anti-air like that, it's slow enough startup that you can use Earthquake outside of their reach to set up Oki mixes. So maybe I missed my knockout. You gotta confirm when your opponent's on 3. Use the forward A. Just a weakness, you know?
Round 5. Fight. Surprise! Take that.
Okay, so with Cloud up, Lum's relatively safe to use dice. I wonder if I'm allowed to just landslide, especially knowing what we know now. Even if Lum blocks it, I'm safe. It might be okay to just landslide through the cloud. Instead, I think I actually get the perfect. Look at this. Boom! I did it. So that's the kind of result you want for Rook, for sure. Walk. Yep. So if Lum's gonna try and punish Rook's thunderclap with a jump, you have different timings you do of the ground C. So in this case, you don't cancel the moment that the mini Lum breaks. This is like 8, 9, 10, 12 frames after, something like that, because of the delay. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Something got messed up. Did we jump backward in some weird way? Okay, we'll just play from here. Sorry about that. I think we get to a KO situation here, right? Let's just jump forward a ways. So, what was happening? Threw out a mini Lum, then tried to punish with jump A. Delay the cancel to catch the jump in, works fine. Depending on what Lum's trying to do to punish you for thunderclapping, Lum can like predictably forward A too, to just sort of poke you out of the startup of your thunderclap, which is pretty strong. But it loses to something like Earthquake. Good Oki decisions. Good way to close it out. I mean that's what Rook wants. The kind of results you want to get. So, first round went pretty well. I don't think there were like a whole lot of on back A block whiff. Don't you always want to delay the cancel to C? You do kind of always want to delay to some extent whenever like C is on block, because if you do it early, you're just sort of giving them extra time to react. But if you break a projectile, doing it earlier is good to cover like grounded stuff, especially if it becomes active quickly. While delaying is good against things like Melon or Jump A. This is a question from chat from Division Ring. So it's tricky and we'll see it a little. I don't know if we'll actually see it in this game, but it is true that like not delaying can have upside too, is sort of the way it shakes out. So being sensitive to what your opponent's likely to choose and then sort of picking your option. You can usually delay and sometimes just not cancel at all, I think are both reasonable options. And then not delay should probably be the thing you do less often when you hit a projectile. On block, you always delay some. So CWheezy is going to make some adaptation here that turns it around for him, I think. So I picked the option that would have beat Wheezy. I jumped too early though. This is the thing I need to improve at. The fuse still has a good amount of time left on it. If I waited another, half second or whatever, that's the right option and the right timing.
Here you go. Melon. Surprise.
And here I'm going to jump again. Vines is similarly good against Cartwheel, so an okay guess, but the timing of the jump was not very favorable. I get caught by it at the end, so I'm getting in this trap of jumping a little too early. This is an interesting sort of situation. I think Wheezy walks forward a little bit and then stops, I guess, to Yomi. I don't know exactly what's going on here. But right before I grab him, he starts walking back, so something was up. I think his option left him a little closer than he would have liked. This isn't correct. Some characters, whenever you hit them with the not cross up for jump A, you can't neutrally knock them down. Lum is a character where you can do a little micro walk and get him to knock down. And the micro walk isn't like totally necessary either, so better to get that knockdown than to leave him at 1 is just, I think, an outright mistake from my part. Lucky that I didn't give away the cherry. There's a spot where delay C would have been fine. Get lucky getting the jump in on Lum. And that's a reason why a predictive splash is strong. If Lum tosses an item and gets something that isn't coin, that kind of splash, even if it forces a block, is very strong for Rook. And there's another spot where I think if I delayed by some number of frames, we get that situation from before that's effective. Instead, 2 damage and knockdown. Back throw, I'm not sure if it's that desirable. Forward throw gives Lum better advantage, but I guess maybe the positioning is something that Wheezy likes. This is reactable too. The first one, not really. This one, I think it's reasonable to super here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I would have been immune through the fireworks and punished for 3. It's very strong. But, and here's one that gets it. And the important thing, like the strength of super in those situations, is if you're trying to block the fireworks and you want a super Lum's roll, if you do the super too late, you'll just be blocking, which is fine. If you do the super at the appropriate time, then you catch Lum without ever entering armored frames, so you never get hit by the fireworks, which is great. If you are like super early, then you can get hit by fireworks and potentially Lum gets away with doing the roll, which is super duper duper bad. But most often you'll catch him with it, so I think it's worth going for if you have a sense for the timing. As this is a thing I talked about in the Setsuki video too. After a ground super, there is a fuzzy guard you can do that Wheezy does very consistently, so I should punish him for doing it more, right? Where you can jump, and if you do early jump forward A, it's a safe jump and it hits meaty. If you land and throw, it's not meaty, so you do block, which he does here for a few frames, 1, 2. And then by the time my throw is active, he's Yomi. Whenever he was Setsuki, he did this, and I did a late forward jump A, and it caught him out of it. So that would have been a killing option in this situation. Lum, however, can burn meter here too. On the safe jump, I would have to check if it's actually safe. I don't have meter, so if he does the jackpot and I did an early splash, then I have to block it and I don't get to really punish him for it very well. I think because the throw doesn't hit meaty though, throw might actually be jackpot here. So anyway, Wheezy picks the right option by doing the fuzzy, and I don't respect it. That's one of those dangerous... I throw too late. I think it's possible to not react and like throw before the item comes out, but to whiff punish the throw, sort of. Up this close. I'm just too slow on the uptake, right? By the time I throw, Wheezy's long gone. In that spot, I think blocking's correct. If I'm a little closer, then going for a C grab's okay. But I don't think I was going to be active in time. This is a good dice. Sees me jump in the air and jumps in after, I think, maybe even visually confirming my earthquake, sets up the dice. Unfortunately, his back A gets punished here, and then he doesn't jump out of it. We were talking earlier about how, like, I did that long spiel of, I guess that'd be in a different video probably. Whenever we were watching Janet's Lum play, I gave this long spiel about how there's this like blocked thunderclap where it's always correct to jump out of it. This is that thunderclap, by the way. Lum isn't threatened by landslide, and throw probably doesn't reach at this range, but ground C does. So this is one of those where it didn't even hit first possible frame. It was the vacuum that pulled Lum in that sort of like making it hit meaty. But it works out for Rook in this case, where one gets away from death, and yeah, Rook gets it. Lucky. Not all luck, but pretty fortunate.
Round 3. Fight.
Okay. So because it wasn't coin, we have sort of a 50-50. I guess Vines, Wheezy guesses jump. In this situation, I think it's fine for Rook to do an immediate landslide. It would have been more advantageous for me, that's for sure. In this spot, I would have been better served by doing some sort of earthquake to threaten, like, punish that, but it's a guessing game. Maybe I go for a late splash and punish you for being passive, or maybe I go for earthquake to punish you for being too active. So in this spot, go for the splash. Wheezy didn't punish. Maybe he wants to react to earthquake or something. In this spot, whenever these whiff like this at close range, I think it's reasonable to go for like a throw. Not always. I think it might have whiffed, but if the opponent waffles a little bit, it can be quite strong. But I think blockings here is definitely better than jumping. We talked again in the Janet replay about jumping near the corner, letting Lum out for free, or close to for free. It's better to not commit and just present sort of a wall that Lum has to play around. And at this range, when Lum does item toss, Rook controls the space that food occupies, so it's very strong for me. This is a good situation to punish Lum for doing melon. It would have been better to do B, it turns out. Lum was just a little too low. Too bad. Get fortunate in that Wheezy didn't end up punishing. It's always sketchy trying to do something against Head Crush because it's active basically the whole way down. And I think if like Wheezy stops blocking, he gets taller and gets hit by it or something. It's really dumb. So, good call. This counter hit does give me the back A combo. It is unfortunate that the I didn't recognize that the mini Lum was gonna hit me out of this. But trap Wheezy. This is a really hard prediction that isn't necessary. Good response from Wheezy. I jump in the air late. I mess up my Earthquake. I do it just a little bit too low. The counter here, I guess, is a result of me doing my Earthquake too late. So I'm getting down to 1 HP scenario. Wheezy is probably biased toward Cartwheel in these situations because I can't armor through it. So when your opponent tries to abuse this, Vines is pretty good. Unfortunately, with fireworks on the way, it's probably futile either way. It's just kind of unfortunate how it breaks. Yeah. Good guess. Fortunately left me in a spot where I benefited from the food. That was pretty bad jump. Better to stay on the ground or something. Like, ideally I get the Earthquake punish, like here or something. Do it now. Instead, Lum gets on the ground for free and I didn't break any dice, and then I jump and give up space, and I jump and get hit by with the dice. Pretty questionable. Wheezy gets pretty good value there, but the Earthquake breaking the die there and getting me the knockdown is pretty strong, so it was probably a mistake to stay grounded. I don't know if it is for sure. Good grab on that cherry, though. Like, Wheezy was at full health, I think, right? Was that correct? Yeah, what was important about that was being able to grab it to enable more item tosses and to deny it from me. This is fun. So we're talking about, like, unlikely useful landslides. Doing a landslide that secures block, and then I get broken by the bomb. Means I don't actually get punished for it. That is a less powerful armored move. Good bait by Wheezy. Yep. More of these things. If the opponent tries to abuse it like this, that Vine's just barely whiffed, but I don't think this is very good for Lum. If you're predictable with this sort of idea of pressure, Vines is really good against it. And here it even sometimes punishes other things. It's just sort of silly to abuse it to that extent, I think. That makes me sad. Let's watch it in slow motion. 1, 2. It was a frame late. Alright. Hey, that's the timing, though. If Lum's gonna bonk the dice and you predictably do it, Thunderclap does a good job of being active in a way that breaks a bunch of them. Earthquake does not hit pre-jump. Earthquake only hits not pre-jump. It's sort of like a command grab in that way. So as long as you have pressed the up thing and you're not locked into some action, then you get out of it. And on the whole, that feels a lot better. For comparison, if you have been one of the folks playing Guilty Gear Strive, I am fairly certain, I haven't tested it for sure, but I'm pretty sure that Potemkin's slide head, his Earthquake move, hits pre-jump because it's now blockable low. Boy, does that feel bad to get hit by it when you know you pressed up. It's nice to be able to jump it because sometimes you can get punishes and things, but it's one of those things that's definitely less lenient to react to without that protection in there. So, good result for Wheezy. I'm down to 1 chip. If he doesn't, so the reason I'm jumping here, if Wheezy does another cartwheel, I want to be ready to jump super it. but he's not going to commit to it. He doesn't need the risk, which is correct. So closes out the round with timeout.
Round 5. Fight. What? Fine.
That's a pretty cool vines, I'm gonna say. I'm glad that this is maybe the ideal case for one on block. It's not punishable, it broke the mini Lum, and it left me safe. I guess that's what I mean by not punishable before. Here's me jumping too early. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, let me back up just a little bit. So, kind of a theme across some of these different games with the Wheezy is me jumping too early against bombs. So the Earthquake is fine in theory. If I jumped a little later, would have been correct. What a sad giant rock face. Look at this. Oh. Okay, so it wasn't a real Loki option. Gets punished by jump super. Gets the knockdown. Okay, I think I can still jump and punish this. Yeah. Let's see. Not quite. That one, I guess maybe that's one to remember for the future. I blocked the lightning right before that happened at like a medium height. Didn't have enough time to punish. Something I can try and leverage in the future. Or remember anyway, for timing. Is that trade worth it? Probably not. Wheezy's gotten a lot of meter. Was this all off of the one dice toss? It was. This is high value. So, I miss my Earthquake, and then I think very importantly, when I jump and get hit by a die like that, it's extra bad, because not only do I get knocked down, like, Wheezy gets to throw items and create more barriers to me contesting the dice, which lets him stretch its pressure out even longer. So by the time the dice are cleared, he's back to almost having meter again. Like, I'm going to get up here, clear the mini Lum, and look, he can throw dice again while the fireworks come down. Watch. Great. It's very strong, and it punishes me for... It wasn't that I was too passive exactly, it's that I committed in ineffective ways. And here is another good example. The dice are gone again, but he's over half meter, and I don't think there was any cake thrown around. It was an issue of me committing to options that were not effective. So, blocking the first one, blocking the second one, these are fine. Bomb happens. I need to go forward and contest that last die. If you look where the last die is located, it's very far away from Lum. So, denying Lum that last bit of pressure would be very valuable and let me take control of the pace of the game again, I think. Especially because the timing Wheezy jumped at, he was going to fall into that bomb if he didn't use a melon. That's like a pretty deterministic sort of interaction, right? He'll throw himself onto the bomb or he's going to not do anything. Note from Division Ring saying that Landslide would be a much more consistent counter to dice rather than gambling on the Tomb Frame Earthquake. It would be. It depends on the spacing and the situation. So if Lum's playing the matchup correctly, the reason why I can't do it here is because the fireworks are coming down, so if I landslide, I get comboed for like 7.
Roll the dice.
Right? Boom, I landslide, I get hit for 2 maybe, and then Lum should combo it into dice and roll for another 4. So, most setups that Lum has are built to be safe from Earthquake. Or sorry, safe from landslide, but more of them are vulnerable to Earthquake. Like, Earthquake wouldn't have worked there either, right? But now that I know, yeah, with this new technique of abusing that last die to have safe landslides in, it might be okay to just landslide through a cloud, which would be huge for the matchup, honestly. So, I'm definitely going to look at that too. But, like, Bomb, in a similar way, Bomb locks down landslide, because if it's set up properly, then it should break the armor before Lum gets bonked. But Earthquake can still threaten Lum at a lot of positions, even if a bomb's on the field. So the 2-frame Earthquake challenge is not a great one to risk on. Yeah, good gamble. I don't think that's a reaction, right? Let's... Gotta see the KO in reverse, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's very unlikely that that's a reaction. It's probably just knowing that I jumped over it and gambling that I either did a jump forward A or a B like that. So it's not a bad guess, right? It's a good guess. It won the round. So knowing what you're committing to with guesses is good. Shouldn't have blocked or gotten hit there. I could have super thrown. It's not a realistic reaction. Good splash to dodge the bomb. I was thinking that he was really going to go for more. Yep, no delay there gets me hit and punished, which is really unfortunate. Another example, me needing to do that. Good control of space to steal the cherry back. Good punish on an Earthquake that I had no business doing. Whenever an item hits the field like this, I see this happen. By the time I block this coin, I'm mentally committed to doing an Earthquake, I think, which is a bad trap to fall into. But Lum, Cloud, as soon as I see another item tosses happen, especially being something that prevents Lum from throwing again for a while, there's like very, very, very little upside to me doing an Earthquake here. And what it does is it lets Wheezy react, jump, and throw dice for free. And with me on 3 health, it means I'm gonna die. It's a neat vines. It broke one die. It did get punished by the coin, but if the coin hadn't been there, I might have gotten away scot-free. Like, if that were food, just imagine. Mini Lum hits the field. He starts to go for a roll. Maybe because there's dice on this field, it's extra upside. It happens to work in my favor to break it. I do 2 hits on the Mini Rook. I think I cancel. No, I don't. I'm reserved this time. But I do a cancel on this one that's too early. I don't even know if that was too early. It was probably just not one that could have ever worked. Yes. Vines is very unsafe on whiff. So the reason why this Vines ended up being okay is because Wheezy committed to doing things at range that weren't useful. So it's not great. I did have a Vines through a die earlier that worked out okay too. And it works out okay in the way that when you get hit grounded by dice, which is the only way you get hit when you have Vines because you're projectile immune until you land, you stay on your feet. You don't get knocked down. So if you've got health to work with, I think there might be upside in using Vines in this sort of way to approach it. It shouldn't be your first option, but it does have some coverage if, like, Lum's jumping around with jump A or jump B or whatever. And it can create situations where you don't get punished, which is good. Yeah, that one didn't work, so good choice by Wheezy. On the whole, I think if he did forward A, note from Division Ring, thinking for this specific situation, did forward A instead of neutral A, you get bopped for 2. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the footage real quick. It's pretty likely. I would think so. I don't think Vines was an amazing option, but if I was going to make the questionable decision to jump in the first place there, Vines is the way to not get punished as badly. Getting knocked out of the air is really bad. So if I see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I'm pretty sure this is a reaction to me seeing that a dice is going to go in the air. I can't like say for sure, but it's definitely in that bounds of me seeing that Wheezy's going to kick up a die, and I'm like, okay, if I get hit in the air by this die, I'm definitely dead. So I probably shouldn't have jumped in the first place, but since I did jump as a sort of desperate way to try and gain advantage, Vines was the way for me to get out of it after I saw a dice was going to be in the air. But yeah, if Forward A hits me, it probably combos off coin and might even hit that die for a total of 3, so I could have just died there. It's true. So, I'm going to agree with you that it's not a very good option, but maybe knowing what's in your toolbox, I guess, has value, even if it is usually not what you want to use. So, I have my sort of second lease on life, but yeah, dead. We'll look at the last round too, or last game. But my impression compared to the Janet ones is I think that I made some questionable decisions in like dice situations, like jumping in ways that got me knocked down and let Wheezy build a bunch of meter advantage, which hurt me some. And I had like mechanical errors on how I navigated around bombs some. And I guessed wrong sometimes. It's like the combination of those things. I don't think, like compared to some of the Janet situations that we got into, I don't think there's as many like really niche scenarios that I made like always wrong decisions in, but I am getting more wrong guesses, I think.
Round 1. Fight. Catch.
Yep, that was way too early of a jump, but in that case it's just a guess of whether I do Earthquake or not. Good jump. Need to react to coin, but in that case it doesn't work out in my favor either way. Coin's the thing that punishes you for jumping at an item toss. I blocked that appropriately. Yeah, so this is a good example. Wheezy cashes out dice here in a way that's pretty reasonable. I take my point of chip and Wheezy's out like a third meter, which is a fine result for Rook. So you don't want to let Lum get dice too often for free, but if there's like fireworks on the field, it's just going to be what happens. Here's a situation where doing an immediate cancel was correct. Yeah, Division Ring, I agree that this is the thing. If you're playing Lum, identifying dice's value as a way to force the opponent to play passive, and then just using that to build up item advantage, rebuild super meter, is super strong, for sure. So, in this case, the immediate cancel was good because I was going to get put in hit stop from the melon early, which extends how long my throw is going to be active. So if I delayed it, I might have gotten hit or just not been active whenever Wheezy landed. It would have gotten out. So, oh, I know what this is. I was still proud about this one. It's a pretty sketchy Oki option, but watch this. There's a mini Lum behind Lum. So you can stand on the ground and do some sort of standard mix-up option, which is much more stable and correct, like do a back A or a ground C or a normal throw. But watch what happens instead. We jump over and we do an Earthquake to catch the mini Lum and hit Lum. Pretty cool, huh? I liked that one. It's one of those that if it's blocked, you know, it's very losing for Rook. But this is, I think, about as ambiguous as it gets as far as which side it's going to hit, which is an advantageous thing. And it just also happened to catch Wheezy jumping. So, good results all around. I'm glad I get that tick throw. Go for empty jump throw? No? Would have worked. Big downside of me doing the crossbow, I think I just need to really work with this. On this neutral A knockdown, I can just delay. Or no, this is a normal throw? Yeah. I should walk back a little more, and if you delay your forward jump A, like this can be not cross up. So if I delayed it a little more, I wouldn't have let Wheezy out of the corner for free like this. I could have also won the match there, you know. That would have been handy. Did I whiff my... Oh, sorry. Here we'll go back a little bit. I think I also whiffed my neutral A. Was that correct? Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. 2, 3. I think I was like a frame off, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There, it's active, but Lum's already left the ground. Lum's one of the ones that's really hard to hit. Landslide whiffs, if you clap, then landslide cancel, right? Similarly, it's just because Lum pulls his feet up so fast. Look at him. Boing, boing, boing. He's got springs in his shoes. I think it's correct to not go for a throw cancel there, but I'm not 100% sure. Nice hit. Oh, look at how sad these vines are. Look. Ew. Aren't we glad this doesn't hit? Come on. It wasn't a great guess in the first place. It's one of those things that like Lum couldn't roll this every time. So it wasn't really right to jump backward, but it would have been nice if it hit, that's for sure. Also, something like this, I think I ground C every time. That seems very likely. 2, 3. If I don't back up and I stay brave, then I think it hits me, and then the C grab's got to land as soon as he falls to the ground. So this was an intentional sort of bait for me. I knew that when, I'm not sure if it's held up through the course of this match, but I feel like it's come up at least once before. I had the feeling that Wheezy wanted to roll whenever fireworks were on the field, because it's pretty safe and it's really high upside. If I try to like throw and I make a mistake and I get counter hit, maybe it combos to fireworks or whatever. At the very least, Lum gets more chip pressure off of it. So I was already primed and ready for it to happen, so I waited and I was able to react. Whenever your mind's ready for it and you're really wanting to go for it, I did this jump forward. And I anticipated it, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 frame reaction ends up being reasonable when I'm specifically looking for this exact thing. So creating the situation where the thing I want to react to is more likely to happen lets me steal that advantage, I guess. I set the trap. Better to not grab that health there. We're both at full. Rook can jump over and do a late splash to navigate around food, which, you know, has downside, like it loses to roll or whatever. But Rook can at least sort of put pressure on Lum to do something. Good coin. And he also did the roll, so that was one of those no-win scenarios. Rook jumped, he's going to get hit one way or the other. Good melon. Mini Lum makes that safer too. If I have some idea that I want to do a ground C, there's definitely risk that like I hit myself on the Mini Lum and the melon before Lum lands. So I don't think it's a situation you can capitalize on. This is sad. So I had already committed the clap. I knew it was going to land, or I was pretty sure it was going to land on the Mini Lum, right? That looks like pretty good positioning. So I had already mashed on that B button, and I wasn't going to give up no matter what happened. As a result, I did not hit the Mini Lum. I do not get the cancel. I hit myself on the Mini Lum. I get lucky and knock Wheezy out of the air, but it's pretty bad, right? Mini Rook. And then here's a classic example of too early. Just immediate cancel. If we delay it, we're okay. Good cross-up setups, and I'm dead from chip.
Round 3. Fight. Take that.
Yep. Stay at Sable. Wheezy hasn't actually ever gone for the back A opener like Janet likes, so walk down's probably more effective against him than I'm giving credit. And it lets me block that coin safely. Questionable Earthquake. This is one of those I think that I jump and Wheezy does this, and I have probably already pressed Earthquake, or maybe I just mash it out too early. Either way, it wasn't ever going to work. I do get a good clap that clears 2 of the dice, so again, this is good result for Rook. I've taken 1 chip, not even damage, like a quarter meter for Lum, and dice is off the field. Lum did get 2 Mini Lums, though, which is really strong and something I have to be scared of. I want to clap to clear them. I decide to do it too late. Melon performs pretty good against clap in a lot of situations. If I did it the moment I saw Lum jump, I'm probably better off. Instead, I sort of do it late at a bad time. So get hit, and then like getting hit there enables Wheezy a free item throw. There's a good example of me clapping in response to the jump. That clears it. And a bad example of me doing the throw too early. If I delay the cancel, I'm pretty sure this actually catches. Mini-Lum probably means that I don't get serious Oki off of it, but getting 1 damage and probably to break the Mini-Lum is still pretty good. This is really unfortunate. I think this is a pretty good option of jump forward when we're talking about like the Lum-Rook matchup having a bunch of weird interactions. I think this is one of those clever, with quotation marks, things where you jump past the cloud, then you Earthquake to break the Mini-Lums, and it half works. My mistake is I didn't realize that when there's 2. Look at that face of sadness, by the way. So sad. Why did I Earthquake on 2 Mini-Lums? Ugh. But to be serious, it looks like this just doesn't work when there's 2 Mini-Lums on the field. I was too excited, too hopeful. So as a result, I get comboed for a bunch and lose the round. So I had this hope. So I knew that the cartwheel was coming. I was hoping that I'd be able to get in the air fast enough to get a jump super, because that'd be very winning. But if not, we can just move on to the next round. Here's an example where undelayed undelayed cancel was good. I need to figure out what the distinction is. It's got to be about when Lum jumps, right? If Lum delays jump, I delay my cancel. Yeah, I got. All right, good frame traps, good jump out from Wheezy. Bad bomb jump for me. I needed to delay it a little longer. I'm just losing value from that. I think it's important. Like, it's really good to be able to do that. Getting cake there is really strong for Lum, so gonna come back and have dice on deck. I get lucky with Wheezy not reacting to the Earthquake, so I get to gain space, clear the die. Really bad Earthquake. I don't know what it was meant to achieve with the Lightning Cloud out there. I think that's just one of those failure to react and respond things. So, in that specific situation, Vines would have been good, but on the whole, it's likely better to not contest the Cloud at all. Just stand right outside of it. Let Lum commit to something. You can always neutral jump and be ready to Vines if Lum does Mel and you have time to react. So no need to be committal in the way I was. Now, this is a really powerful spot, too. I realize it, but I realize it too late. Because Bomb was in this position after Dice, I could have clapped and really gotten a ton of advantage. As a result, instead I sort of waffle on it. I don't realize until it's too late that Wheezy basically gave me his dice. So he gets to walk forward and punish me for my indecision. Good use of forward A. So this should be a way for me to punish. Not quite. I missed the window. So I've jumped in the air. I think it might be the case where I do a really late one. It's hard to say for sure. Maybe like, I don't even think this is the earliest possible one. Oh, sorry. Anyway, didn't work out in this case. Jumping whenever Lum has meter is always dangerous because you can put yourself in a situation where you can't Earthquake the dice. And now that we know about our secret tech, it's probably better to stay grounded against Cloud anyway and just landslide through it like the cheater we are. Honestly, that tech's amazing. I think that'll help the matchup quite a bit. Alright, another mini Rook. I feel like I've fought 4 mini Rooks over the course of 4 matches or something. It's crazy. But Lum does get to throw a lot of items. It's not something like you can just say, oh wow, that's crazy variance. You know, Lum gets a lot of pulls. He's going to get more chances to get mini Rook. This is an okay Thunderclap to try and break the dice. It just was picked at the wrong time. It had the upside of bonking the mini Rook and clearing dice, But in this case, it got me killed.
Round 5. Fight.
Okay, that was a good, like, was that immediate cancel? I think so. Alright. No, it's not. It's a late cancel. Yeah, that's the classic. Alright. I don't know if you should late cancel or early cancel. It's one of life's great mysteries. Again, gotta make those tighter. I guess I should just set Lum to jump on block and grind it out for a while. Yeah, I think that's like a frame off, right? That's gotta be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's active now. So yeah. I've got, in the Rook-Oki guide, I've got a listing in there somewhere about how plus you need to be to catch someone out of meaty thunderclap. Because, like, neutral A is sort of real option, but it depends on how early characters lift their feet off the ground when they jump. So, I think Lum's one of the ones that's, like, basically impossible because he just pops up so fast. What I'm trying to say is there's information in the guide about how quickly people leave the ground, but it's not displayed in a very useful manner. So, apologies. This is good. This is something that I thought about a lot afterward, but I don't think that this is... this is me jumping way too early. I just wait. We're at the spacing. I could grab him with C. I could walk forward and super him. I could walk forward and throw him. There's like a million years before that bomb goes off, and I decide to spend it committing to a jump. That lets him anti-air me, so... big mistakey, that's for sure. Good earthquake. And good use of roll. These dice being on the field makes me nervous. This jump timing on the bomb was good, I think. Like, it wasn't massively too early. It was a little early. Yeah, a little early. So, this whole situation's tricky, right? I need to jump late enough that I can earthquake early enough to dodge the neutral A. Because when I jump forward, I'm threatening to jump in on Lum, so Lum's going to roll, or since there's a bomb on the field, not roll, but do a neutral A. So I need to be able to stop right here at this time. The problem is I jumped a little too early. And since I jumped too early, the bomb was still active at the time I needed to do the earthquake. So I could have been a little further back, which lets me stay in the air longer before I have to earthquake. Or I could have jumped a little later and been okay. So, lessons learned. Nice chip from Wheezy. I can jump out of that last one. But there's not a whole lot of other contesting I can do. Like, I think a neutral jump's pretty good there. That was good. This is an option that's available to Lum. It's really risky if Rook has the bravery to go for like a landslide cancel or even a C cancel. They can both beat this, but it's a good way to contest Rook. Now I'm on dangerous chip. And the interaction comes down to that. So that closes out the set. Wheezy has beaten me in the revenge match. And yeah. Well played to Wheezy, right? Effective stuff. On the whole, I feel like these interactions were pretty close. I made some unforced errors, I think, trying to do things like jumping around bombs not quite effectively enough. So those lost me value. There were spots where when dice was on the field, I committed to really risky things in a way I didn't need to, and it let Wheezy build a lot of meter when I was punished for them. And I think aside from that, it comes down to guessing games mostly. There weren't so many interactions that I felt like I made wrong decisions in super often. So I might be overlooking some things, but on the whole, I actually feel pretty good about this. These games with Wheezy. I like the round count looks bad or whatever, but I think that the Janet games, Janet was able to, and this is something Janet talks about, and I don't think personally I put a ton of value in the idea that you create situations that are unknown. and that you get advantage from them, and that's something that Janet likes a lot. Like, I think it's a point we differ on some, is I feel like the value from that is unreliable, is I think where my personal, I don't know, evaluation comes down on it. But looking at those matches, I think I just agree with Janet. In those specific ones for sure, and I believe that it carries over to our other games too, is that when your opponent has play that counters something, but the play is precise and difficult, then it's fine to create unknown situations that cause that. You're like creating spots where there are answers that are narrow or difficult. This game with Wheezy, there weren't so many spots where I was trying to like navigate a situation with really narrow or difficult answers. There were ones that I made mistakes on and failed on, and there were guessing games I didn't do correctly. But my feeling is that more often the way these matches played out, it was things that I had that, like, if we played again today, right now, I think I could do better on some of these interactions I was failing. With Janet's, I feel like some of the things that were losing me rounds were things that I just need to play more and build that better intuition for some of those situations. But they're both great players and they both do good things. I really like the fact that Wheezy uses stable anti-air and some of that. Yeah, Janet actually does the same thing to some extent. Both of them, I guess, for viewers at home, Division Ring brings up that, like, at least in this matchup, Wheezy's whole strategy seems to be wait for a stalling item, then go for a dice meter loop. This is like a cornerstone of the matchup for every Lum player, I think. It applies to Janet too, but Janet was able to get the corner more often, and then when Janet gets the corner, Janet applies pressure there more often, I think. Like, really focuses on maintaining that position. Maybe that's one of the distinctive differences. But I don't know. Like, I think Wheezy goes for it too. Both of them look for opportunities to set up dice and then look for ways to abuse it. I think some of the big differences are the way that, I like the spacing they tend to play at and the way that they... I don't know. It's definitely different. Like, Wheezy uses anti-airs that Janet never uses. And I like that because I feel like I can exploit those anti-airs better than some of the stuff I have to fight with against Janet. So it's odd. Like, I think it's correct and stable to use NA more. But I think Jackpot is secretly quite strong too. Dice is good. But the function Jackpot serves in anti-air and the way it interacts with very specific parts of Rook's Oki are both very strong. So, I don't know. Interesting stuff on the whole. So, all that settled, I think that wraps up replay review. So, thanks for sticking around through it. I'll get this all uploaded and immortalize it on the internet forever, huh?